I'm Rohit Arjun. I'm studying 5th standard. I'm learning robotics in Plato's lab. I have assembled this line following robot from Plato's lab. Now I'm going to show you how it works. So now the IR sensors are detecting, so they are moving forward. And when the IR sensors detect the black line, they turn towards their path. And now both the IR sensors are detecting, so now it stopped. Now I'm going to explain about the components I have used in the robot to build it. The first component that I have used to build it is the Arduino. The Arduino is like the motherboard of every robot. It is the most common motherboard which is used. There are 3 types of pins in the motherboard: digital, analog, power. Now the motor. I have used 2 motors to build this robot. The motors propel the robot. Then the motor driver. We can send information directly from the Arduino to the motor, but to make it more accurate and fast, we can use the motor driver. For 2 motors, we need at least over 5 volt. The Arduino only gives 5 volt. So we use the motor driver and the battery. The motor driver is connected to the battery to give power to the motors. The motors are also connected to the motor driver. Then there are 2 types of pins here: output and input. Next is the breadboard. Breadboard is technically like a wire. So there are two types of pins in the breadboard: the positive and the negative. For example, if you put a IR sensor wire here, this whole row will only contain the information of the IR sensor. So you can only put the wires which needs for the IR sensor. Next is the IR sensor. The IR sensor is the second most important thing in this project. There are 2 IR sensors in this case. Now I'll tell you how the IR sensors work. The IR sensors have two parts: the transmitter, receiver. When the transmitter sends a IR ray, the IR ray bounces back and goes to the receiver and sends information to this small chip, and this chip sends information to the Arduino and the code will run accordingly. This is how the IR sensors work. Now I'm going to explain the code for the robot. To start the code, we use this when flag click block. Then we take the forever block from the control section to continue the code. If we do not use the forever block, the code will stop eventually. Next, we have to create 2 variables for the IR sensors. The first variable IR left, then IR right. Then we take this set IR right to analog reading 5, that is set to 0. So to do that, to make it to set IR right to analog reading 5, first we have to set what sensor we need to use for the analog reading. Then for the analog reading, we go to Arduino and take this analog reading block. Then we fill in the analog reading 5. In my case, I have chosen 5, which you have chosen. You can put that analog reading here. We need to make 2, for one for the IR right, then for the IR left. Next, we need to write the code for these two sensors. First, we have to take the if-else block here. After you take that, we need a condition when the code should be executed. That is, we have to go to the operators for that. We have to take this AND block here, as you can see. Then we have to take the lesser than block. We take the lesser than because the air sensors are facing down. So both the values here will be lesser than 500. So we take lesser than. Then we put the IR left and IR right. So when the IR right and left senses, these values will be lesser than 500. So that's why we put 500 in these two places. Then we write the code for this condition, which is go forward. Next, you have to take another if else that put another condition here. IR left and IR right. You have to again take the and the lesser than and greater than. We can relabel this and take it like this. We can relabel it. After we relabel it, we can just duplicate and put it here. Then we can duplicate these 4 blocks and put it here and turn it to turn right. We instead it to turn right because here IR right is greater than 500 because it's in the black line. When it's the black line, you know why it's greater than 500? For this, you need to understand how the IR sensors work. The IR sensors work through IR rays. So when the IR rays touch anything, they bounce back and go to the receiver. But black observes IR ray. So that's why we use a black line. So when the IR right is touching the black line, the values get higher than 500 because the IR sensor doesn't sense anything. So we put greater than 500 here. Then because the IR right is greater than 500, we have to instruct it to turn right. Then the next case, if the left IR sensor values are higher than 500, it should turn left. That's what the code for this and the condition. Then if both the sensors are sensing black, it has to stop. That's the code here. And thank you.